Travis Wayne Goodsell. I stumbled across something as I posted the latest video about Mormons denying the Church of Christ of Joseph Smith. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I've explained and uncovered missing decoded words in the Doctrine and Covenants. We all should know that the Doctrine and Covenants was encoded, and the 1981 edition of the Triple Combination was an attempt to decode what they could figure out. However, I've pointed out, for one example, Doctrine and Covenants section 1 verse 16, which talks about Babylon. Babylon is code. It's not Babylon. Babylon already fell back when the Persians took over. And so it's referring to some other land. And I've told you how to decode it with ye elders of Israel. O Babylon, we bid thee farewell. We're going to the mountains of Ephraim to dwell. It's America. And so because I figured out that missing decoded word, I've found others in the Doctrine and Covenants and other places and other names as a result. And as part of my research into the Book of Mormon, because I don't just stop when people say, oh, Sidney Rigdon wrote the book, and it came from the Solomon Spalding manuscript, manuscript found, and etc., etc. Plagiarized, dozens of other books, the Late War, the Quran, and Charles Anthon's reprinted edition of a dictionary of ancient or classical names. But I keep going. I want to find out why. Why are they using these specific books? Why are they even doing this in the first place? Why is Sidney Rigdon involved, etc., etc.? So it's necessary to study church history to find those answers. And in the course of my research, I realized, Book of Mormon's coded. Just a natural process. And I find out that they use the Book of Revelation's astronomical dates in chapter 12 and chapter 19 in the Book of Mormon, which means that the whole Book of Mormon covers a period of American history in the future, 2017 to 2024. And if you know anything about the heavens and signs in the heavens of the latter days, there's supposed to be 3 days of darkness. We've already had the first one, 21st of August 2017. The next one is in October 2023, and then the final one, 8 April 2024. That should have caught all Mormons' attention. And I'd known by doing actual church history research about the succession crisis involving Alpheus Cutler, who was a member of the administration quorum of the 12 called the High Council. And this is foreign to Mormons because it's the 12 apostles. They're the administration, not under Joseph. Completely different organization, religion, theology, etc., etc., etc. Nothing is the same. And Alpheus Cutler parted with Brigham Young's takeover because Brigham Young chose to dedicate the Nauvoo Temple on the anniversary of the Illuminati rather than the anniversary of the church, which was April 6th, 1830. I need to check time and date here just for a second, just for my own personal curiosity, wanting to find out which day of the week April 6th was in 1830 or 1846. So time and date.com, and then we need to change 1846. Okay, April 6th was on a Monday. Hmm. 8 April 2024 is on Monday. General Conference, if all things continue as they are, will be held on the 6th and 7th of April 2024. Interesting. Instead, Brigham Young waited till Friday to have the Nauvoo Temple dedicated. This gets more interesting the more I get into it. I wasn't planning on a full investigative research video. I was just going to say, hey, I noticed something interesting. I want to share it with you. Done. No hour-long video. Because it's interesting in the sense that the final third day of darkness, now if you understand the Exodus of Moses, there are 3 days of darkness, stars falling from the heavens, a virus, and after all that, an Exodus occurs. And so when you realize that the Book of Mormon is in a 7-year time frame coded 2017 to 2024, it starts to get real freaky how much the Smiths knew about the threat to America. But you got to watch the other videos of mine, because otherwise I'd have to spend hours going over background explanations for you. And so, yeah, we have the church purposely organized on the 6th of April, when, interestingly enough, if they had dedicated the Nauvoo Temple on that day, it would have lent credibility to their knowledge. Let me check the 1830 date. I'm pretty sure it would have been a Saturday or Sunday, wasn't it? 1830. Tuesday. Huh, okay. Interesting. So, yeah. All right. Interesting. But the collapse of Mormonism made official with the Nauvoo Temple after the death of Joseph Smith is dedicated on the 1st of May of 1846. But Alpheus Cutler was upset, along with other Mormons who also chose not to follow Brigham anymore, because of that delay. The temple was already built, ready to go and be dedicated for the 6th of April, and that Monday. And Mormons were expecting a dedication of the temple in honor and memory of the organization of the church. And yet, nope. Brigham Young said no. Now, Brigham Young was in charge of that temple building because his brother-in-law was the architect for the building. So the inverted pentagrams are Trundle? Is that the name? Or Tundle? Because Trundle is from 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. But it is similar, if not close, or the same. But regardless, brother-in-law. And so Brigham Young taking over, Illuminati, inverted pentagram, Scottish Rites. See where I do my other videos on that. But when I did this video that I just uploaded, I wanted to link you guys to the Kirtland Temple, the blueprints, because I go over how Mormons want to tour the Kirtland Temple as part of their church history site tour and wonder why the church isn't in possession of the Kirtland Temple. And so they asked the tour guides, one of whom had contacted me through comment on YouTube, told me about how Mormons ask for baptismal fonts and the different rooms for the endowment ceremony and the veil with the garment markings and if they even wear garments and if they even have the same scriptures, and they don't. Brigham Young had them altered. Even scriptures were altered by Brigham Young. So, and while I was looking at the dedication date, I went, oh crap, no way, this isn't real. No, it is, oh crap. Yeah, the dates likewise were specifically arranged in code. I'd already gone over the Relief Society organization giving the priesthood to them, and the Nephi visiting Joseph Smith, not Moroni. That was one of the changes. And the finding or the obtaining of the plates in 1827, and then the Nauvoo Temple, which is the enemy's code, not the Joe Smith's code. And I couldn't quite figure out why 6th of April for the organization of the church. Now, technically it was the second organization. It was 1829 when they first organized the church. But 1830 became the official one. And I always wondered, well, why? The second or the third final day of darkness is on the 8th of April. Couldn't they just turn it into the 8th of April, which would have been Thursday? I mean, they're having it during the regular week. So why not on the 8th? Why did they make it the 6th? And then I saw the Kirtland Temple dedication. Bing, 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 bing. We have a winner. All the dates are code 2. So it is confirmed now. And wow. So the reason why is because the 6th of April 2024 is Saturday, the weekend. And that Monday will be the total solar eclipse. The one in Revelation 19. I saw an angel standing in the sun. As he's already talked about Pegasus, riding on Pegasus. In the Book of Mormon, what happens in 2024 as coded? Give you a hint, all of us as missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, all, when speaking to people about the Book of Mormon, refer to that passage without fail, each and every single time. We may go to Moroni 10, 4 through 5, but we don't just say, hey, here's a book, here's this last passage in the book, do it, we'll get back with you. We sort of have to tease the Book of Mormon. So we all go to this one passage first and foremost. 3 Nephi chapter 11. You have Lehi's dream of the sun coming out of space, giving a book talking about the destruction of America, as Lehi in that first year in 2017, when a certain president would take the throne, and you also have 3 Nephi 11, the sun comes from outer space to bountiful paradise, Zion. On the 8th of April 2024. It's code. So don't start thinking Jesus Christ is coming from outer space on that date. You're gonna be disappointed. But that's why they had the weekend. Fascinating. But that's not the Kirtland Temple dedication date. Because 2017, also, according to Revelation chapter 12, expanding upon Isaiah, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, as a sign, not a reality as Matthew tries to alter it. Matthew even screws it up and doesn't call him Emmanuel. Calls him Jesus. How could you mess that up? And, I mean, seriously, I mean, people, scholars, biblical scholars, fanatic Christians, are all trying to do archaeological research in Jerusalem area, trying to find any archaeological evidence to find the name Jesus. And they can't find it. I wonder what would happen if they decided to look for Emmanuel. They're not going to find it as a real entity, but nonetheless, I don't know why they're not looking for Emmanuel. Because it's a sign. And when you give a sign in the heavens, you're giving an exact, precise date. And I'll pontificate over this. In my old age meandering, yes, Random Muse, I got your comment. I also had to ban Dolls and Lace. She does great work with Dolls and Lace, but I had to make a comment on her channel to explain why she will never find my channel again while signed in. You can't be abusive. But I was nice. I complimented her on the great work she does with the teacup videos she was doing, and then said it must be nice doing something that you don't get hate comments for, as she will know exactly who I am and what my comment means. But I'm sort of hesitating. We're over 20 minutes. The Relief Society. All Mormon women know this date, because every single year they've celebrated it. March 17th, St. Patty's Day. I've gone over the significance of this date and why Joseph Smith rushed to give women the priesthood immediately after he became a Master Mason on the 15th of March. So the Scottish rites, not the York rites, of which his father and brother were a part of. And so why is Hiram joining the Scottish rites? He's not supposed to. You have to stick with the lodge you start with as a member. You can't join another. Joseph Smith can, because he couldn't be a part of the York rites because his father was in Canandaigua and Hiram was in Palmyra, which was close to home, so that he could walk while Dad gets the horse to drive to work. And so Joseph couldn't go to any of them because he was a family member. They don't allow nepotism in the original Freemasonry, and there is a difference between Scottish rites and York rites. Again, Illuminati is with Scottish. York rites are the Knights Templar, the heroes of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, as Friday the 13th, the Catholic Church attacked them. It has something to do with Egyptian gold plates buried in caves in southern Illinois. Wait a minute, southern Illinois. Isn't that the place where 2017, 21st of August, and 8 April 2024 cross? Wonder if there's a coincidence. Yes, that's what I've been telling you. But we're telling you 23 minutes here because only those of you who have the endurance to withstand my voice are going to be privileged to hear this information, as I'm still delaying on March, or I ruined it. Yes, March 17th was when the Kirtland Temple was dedicated. We all miss it because the church doesn't hand out the blueprints. You have to search for it online now that we have the technology to see them. And sure enough, the blueprints have been put online. And sure enough, dedicated March 17th, 1836. And so, when we read 110, which is where Elijah and Moses come to Joseph Smith, give him the keys during Passover, he's now able to seal on earth as it is sealed in heaven, and unseal on earth as it is unsealed in heaven, and gives that to his brother Hiram after Daddy dies, and Hiram takes over as patriarch. Only the two brothers are prophets, seer, and revelators. Joseph is translator, Hiram is patriarch after Dad dies. There's a reason for that, and it has to do with 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 2. Learning of the Jews. So religion of the Jews is the learning of the Jews. Mormonism is supposed to be Jewish, pre-captivity Jewish, which means Israelite. You know, that church that Joseph Smith Sr. went to in Vermont, which was a Congregationalist type church, where Ethan Smith came later while the Cowdreys were still living in Vermont, and had written a book about the view of the Hebrews, because the Congregationalists were all about Hebrew and such. And so thus Ethan Smith influenced in that religious Christian belief. Nathan Wood was the New Israelites guy. And so the significance of dedicating a temple, as I've talked about Egyptian for you, has to do with the birth of the birthright blessing son who is to become the Messiah. That's in the understanding of the Egyptians. This is portrayed in the Jewish Torah as well. Moses is the Messiah of Messiahs for the Jews. So when they are looking to the future for a time when the Jews shall be saved, as well as the house of Israel, by a descendant of King David, they're referring to a man like Moses. Jeremiah 23. This is why they don't believe in that Jesus guy. They're looking for a guy with the name Sun God, Emmanuel. Joseph Smith does call him Amen. He throws in son Amen, indicating that Father is also named Amen, just like the Egyptians. And so you have temple building, and the first temple of Mormonism by Joseph Smith is dedicated on 17th of March, 1836. Then he rushes to make sure that the women get the priesthood on the 17th of March, 1842. Code. Because there's a sign for a virgin conceiving and bearing a son, but the sign always represents something on earth. 3rd Nephi 11, even though it's using April 2024, which is 7 years after the 2017 sign on the 23rd September 2017, which, by the way, was when the Relief Society first became a part of General Conference, with a brand new Relief Society president who came from the primary president office. The primary president over children became the Relief Society president over women who bear children. And she's now a part of General Conference. The church knows nothing of this. It just happened. Because, if you don't know some of my other videos, the church is found a part of all the latter-day signs and heavens. So when 21 August 2017 occurs, whose birthday is that? Mormons? Anybody? What? You don't know President Monson's birthday? Oh, he died on the 2nd of January 2018. What happened in the sky that night? Oh, Revelation 12, is it 4? Because 3 would be the sign of the dragon, which was that December 17th, the 5th day of darkness of Hanukkah. Yes, Nelson died with the stars falling from the tail of the dragon. And guess who was at the top of Libra? Mars. So who would be Mars then to take over after the death of the leader of the church? Interesting. Mars is Nelson. So yes, it's all code, but it's really freaky because I can't believe the Smiths knew this. They knew the dates. Fine. Any astronomer can know those dates. As the Holiness to the Lord parchment showed that Smith Sr. was involved in star charts, because that's what it is. It has nothing to do with witchcraft. D. Michael Quinn. But the signs, as I've been noticing, seem to happen after the event in many cases. I did the video not too long ago, which very few people are watching, about how lunar eclipses are tied to the deaths of prophets of the church. And the prophets always die first, then the total lunar eclipse. You know, Faust, Hinckley, and the 3 Perry Packer Scott during the Tetrad, right before the 4th one, and then Monson, even though his sign day was with his death, there was still a lunar eclipse to back it up, and not just any lunar eclipse, the most rarest of all lunar eclipses. Super blood blue moon wolf. Yeah, it was huge, big event. And so why the 17th of March if the sign of the Son of Man, a virgin shall conceive? She conceived right after the presidential election during the supermoon in November. We're talking about signs in the heavens. And so thus the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, we now know who that is. And then you have Lehi having the 2 dreams, 2017. Nephi is then born in that year. Isn't that interesting? Because Babylon would have come in the spring, put Zedekiah on the throne. So who's born? When is he born? Later that year, when September would fall. But that's not the actual birth date for the actual guy, the mortal man, talked about throughout the Book of Mormon, throughout the Doctrine and Covenants. Give you one hint. Joseph Smith even calls him the man like Moses, according to the Jews, in section 103, verse 16, and ties him to the latter-day Exodus. You know, Moses, who comes to the Kirtland Temple, gives Joseph the key of the gathering, the Exodus. And so, yes, that's the birth date for the guy. I've done the video already, but to find further confirmation with the dedication of the first temple in Kirtland just blew me away. They purposely encoded all this information for Mormons to figure out, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Totally awesome. So, there you go. Only those of you who stood throughout the video with my meanderings are rewarded with the information.